All right, viewers, you're welcome to Sahara TV. My name's Mazin Wachuku Sydney. We are right here in the office of Prince Dr. Akintunde Ishola Ayeni, the Pathfinder creator and the trailblazer for the trado medical practices and drugs in Africa and in particular in Nigeria. While we're here is to talk to him on a few issues as it concerns the traditional medicine practicing in Africa. Well, viewers, join us as Doctor settles down to speak to us on these whole issues.
Thank you very much. You are mostly welcome to Yemkem House. And my name is Akintunde Ishola Ayeni, the president and the founder of Yemkem International Group of Companies. Well, COVID-19 is a coronavirus infection that is attacking virtually, human beings, and it's a global disease anyway. It's not a pandemic that is related to only Africa or Nigeria. It's universal, and it's a virus that I think is new in the system. So virus in the past has happened. We have had a lot of virus or viral pandemic issues, like when you talk of the smallpox, talk of chicken pox, you talk of a lot of viral infections. In fact, the one that happens in the early 70s was so very even more deadly than the coronavirus. That is during the time of cholera. It's a viral infection that was killing virtually. In fact, in a house, it kills virtually all of them. Because it's something that if you attack you in the morning, before evening you are dead, you are gone. Because that is why in the early 70s, you see that was called cholera pandemic. It's a viral infection where people will be stooling, at the same time you'll be vomiting. Yes, and you die off. You see, if it attacks you in the morning, the moment you start stooling and you are vomiting, if there is no remedy at that particular time, you are gone that very particular day. The reason why they were so panicked was that, this one is something that is universal. It's a global disease. And if you look at the number of people that is affecting, most especially, even the people that are actually affecting, they are the top rated Nigerians. And because of that, it creates a lot of fears into the people's mind. And the fact is that this is a viral infection that is everywhere in the world, and it has killed a lot of people. You understand? It's not a disease that is limited to Africa, or you see a disease that is limited to Nigeria, like Ebola now. Ebola is limited to a certain area, even in Africa, before it gets into Nigeria. So I think this viral infection, this coronavirus infection, I think is a pandemic that is limited to Africa. You understand? The so much noise will not be so high like this. You understand? The awareness will not be so much like this. The fear will not be so much like this. But the reason why the noise and all this propaganda left and right about this pandemic is because it's universal, it's global. And because it's global thing, you see, the whole world is making a lot of noise about it. The whole world is making everybody to be very fearful about the disease, so that they can follow the precautions. They can stick to the guidelines of preventing the coronavirus. You understand? You see that during the Ebola, you can't see America talking of Ebola in Africa. You can't see America or UK talking of Ebola when he attacks, when he gets, into the Nigerian territory. But because this one, it spreads, it's an airborne disease, and it's not limited to a certain area. So because of that, the awareness was very, very, high, and it's a global thing. Well, I got into the herbal practice while I was very young, right from the age of 6 years old. Because my father is a renowned traditional doctor, well known during his lifetime, even among the first class Yoruba Obas.
At that time?
That time. The first class Yoruba Obas that time, most of them, they are friends of my father. Because they patronize him. Because my father is a very powerful person, traditionally. And beside that, his own father was super powerful more than him. You understand? In fact, he was introduced into the traditional medicine by his father. Because my grandfather was a very powerful traditional doctor, was a very powerful hunter. He's so powerful that he has a mystical power that he turned himself into a live tiger. He doesn't use gun to kill any animals. Anytime he's going for hunting, he will turn himself into a tiger, a live tiger, and thereby he kills a lot of animals. Then later he will turn himself to a human being.
So that means he had magical powers.
Yes, he has the magical powers. You see, that is why in our family in Ekiti, that is why you are being called Orimekun Luyi, Abiru Jilo Jilo Keleronsi Kiruru. That's the fact is that yes, that is an Orik. That was to show how powerful he was that time. You understand? And he is known for that as a very powerful hunter. You understand? That anytime he's going for hunting, he doesn't hold any guns. You understand? The moment he entered the bush, he has a place where he turned himself into a live tiger. He will hunt, kill a lot of animals, then later come back and turn himself into a human being.
So are we right to say at that time he was a king of hunters?
Yes. So, and in the daytime, he treats a lot of people that come for spiritual problems or even natural problems. He was a very powerful traditional doctor. You understand? So, but because he has so many wives, he has a lot of children. And he has about 49, boys that time. But as his children, because he has about 8 wives. So out of the 49 boys, it's only my father that was introduced into the practice of traditional medicine. You understand? Because it's not something you can just dabble into. It has to do some spiritual findings to know who can actually continue from where he stopped. You understand me now? Unlike today that anybody can wake up tomorrow and say I'm a traditional doctor. You understand? But because it involved a lot of spiritualism that time. But it was ordained. So when my father was alive, when I was born, I was born into a family where they practice traditional medicine. So right from the age of 6 years old, I used to sit beside my father, how he prepare, medicine, traditional medicine. And what actually amazed me is the way people come to my father to thank him for series of, treatment. Most especially women that find it so difficult to conceive. Because in the early 60s, I could remember vividly in the early 60s there are a lot of women that have been sent to my father because my father resided in Ibadan. Although we are from Ekiti, but my brother was based in Ibadan, in Idikon, and that is where I was born. But in that time, I could remember very well that a lot of women do come from usage, sent to them by medical doctors, by nurses, that they should come to my father for infertility treatment. And within 3 months they get pregnant. But my father specialized in that area very, very. In fact, the first property, the landed property my father got that time was given to him by a medical doctor in usage, because the medical doctor, his wife was unable to conceive. They have been to America, Germany. Yes, he trained medical doctor. Because even he was confirmed from the US that there's no way the woman can conceive, that the best maybe they should go and adopt a child or things like that, until a matron in that university now say, yes, now advise them that they should try to seek, the traditional way of treatment of infertility. That she now recommended that my father is very good in that area. And when the medical doctor and the wife came, my father said, do you have belief in traditional medicine? The man said, well, I believe. So my father now said, okay, whatever any test your wife must have done, whatever any recommendation from other parts of the world, he believes that my father needs to do some consultation to be first of all ascertain if the woman can conceive. And from the report of the consultation, the result says that the woman can conceive. And my father put that woman on 3-month treatment, and the woman got pregnant. Wow. In fact, they couldn't believe it. They have to travel to Germany. It was in Germany that it was confirmed that the woman, was really pregnant. So the only property the man had, I'm talking about the early 60s, the only property the man had at that time was the landed property that was given to my father. So that was to show that, yes, that's for you to know that there are a lot of powers in traditional medicine that cannot be scientifically proved, but it really happens. It exists. You understand? So we have seen a lot of cases that medically they would that has defied the medical treatment, and even they will say, well, you don't have treatment for it medically, and traditionally the person will be treated and the person will be cured. So there are a lot of things that happens in the sphere of traditional medicine therapy that scientifically it cannot be explained, but it happens and it's real. You see, first of all, I think education plays a very vital role in that area, because my father is not an educated person. Likewise, his father, and my father practiced both spiritualism. In fact, 70% of my father's practice was based on spiritualism. The people that has a lot of spiritual problems, while the 30% is based on the natural treatment. You understand? But in my own exposure, and because of the level of my education, you see, I was able to separate the spiritualism from the herbalism. Then I was able to look at the reason why many people don't want to associate themselves to the word herbalist. And the fact remains is that they see anybody who's an herbalist as somebody who is very spiritual, as somebody who is very evil, and they see it as something that is very occultic. In fact, they see the herbalism as something very occultic.
Which is not so, sir.
Which is very, very wrong. Because the word herbalist means that someone who uses use of herbs, leaves, plants together as a formulation that serves as a remedy for any kind of treatment. And herbalist is everywhere in the world. We have herbalists in America, we have herbalists in Germany, we have herbalists in UK. We have British herbalists, we have German herbalists, we have USA herbalists as practitioners. We have herbalists in China. That is why the only country as of today that has achieved a lot in traditional medicine practice are the Chinese. Why? Because that is what they believe. And in China today, you see, the practice of traditional medicine has been institutionalized
in China
into their healthcare delivery system. And that is the reason why in China today they have a University of Traditional Medicine where people study the practice of traditional medicine, purely practical. You understand? If you go to China, you see a lot of PhD holders in herbal medicine, in traditional. They don't even call it herbal medicine, traditional medicine. The Chinese don't say herbal medicine; they call it traditional medicine. You understand? You have people who are PhD holders. You have people who are masters of science in traditional medicine. You have professors in traditional medicine in China, also in Japan.
But is it with the full backing of the government?
Yeah, it's the full backing of the government, and that is what they believe actually, because the Chinese believe so much in traditional medicine. Hardly you can see any Chinese in any part of the world that we eat that will not take tea. You understand? 90% of Chinese, when they eat now, the next thing is that they drink green tea or whatever tea, a lot of things like that.
So doctor, tell us, that's not just a tea.
They believe so much in their traditional medicine, and that's the reason why in China, out of 10 pharmacy store in China, out of 10 pharmacy store, I will say 7 or 8 is purely traditional medicine pharmacy stores. You see, it has been established. I think that is the area where we are lacking in Nigeria. Number one, religion play a lot of fundamental role in that area, because if you look at religion now, because of the religion sentimentality of Nigerians, once you say you are practitioners of traditional medicine, they say he is a narcotic person, they are evils, this and that, which is totally wrong. Spiritualism is totally different from herbalism. When you go to church, if you have a problem or you have a disease or sickness that you feel, okay, let me go to church, you are going to the spiritual area of healing. You understand me now? Spiritualism is everywhere. The church that you go for prayer, to pray to God, to answer your prayer, you pray to God to answer your prayer for a particular solution. It's a spiritual healing. Why? When you go to church with a bottle of water and the pastor pray into the water becomes a spiritual water. When you drink it, that water is no more an ordinary water again. It has become a spiritual water. And you drink the water and that problem vanished. That's a spiritual healing. Are you getting me right? You go to someone now, you say, okay, kneel down, I pray for you, everything, and you see changes happens there. It's a spiritual healing. It depends on the belief. You understand? But because our forefathers, the way they present their own spiritual treatment, because of they call it African medicine, in terms of the rituals and every other part of the world. You see, religion is one of the major key, and that is where we are lacking behind in the traditional medicine. And that is the reason why today, for the first time in Nigeria, the federal government was able to look inward into the practice of traditional medicine because of the coronavirus. Because they are able to discover that, look, we can get a solution to fight this COVID-19 pandemic through our traditional medicine. Because they were trying to say, well, I believe in local content. Believe in the local content is not only by the word of mouth. Believe in the local content must be in practice, must be in a lot of research. What is kind of research we are doing in Nigeria to the development of traditional medicine is practically no.
So in any case, government should have a policy on that.
There should be a policy. There should be the federal government should be able to allocate certain amount of money for research, for the development of traditional medicine. That's number one. Number two, Nigeria today, I expected the federal government to have a college of traditional medicine or herbal medicine, whatever they want to call it, where our young people, the young Nigerians, can go and study herbal medicine. I have a child, I have a son that studied herbal medicine in UK. That is very wrong. If we have a college of herbal medicine in Nigeria, then I will have allowed my child to go and study herbal medicine in Nigeria than go to UK. What we have in other departments is just a department of ethnomedicine. Botany is just a single part. In the herbal medicine is a very broad course. Traditional medicine is a full course, not botany. Reading botany is just one part, or reading plant science. You understand? We need a college of herbal medicine where Nigerians can go study herbal medicine as a first degree to PhD level.